Hey now everybody, welcome to Englit.org. This is Professor Island, and today we are talking about how to use the course calendar for English 101. Whether you're in the distance ed class or you are in the on-campus course, when you click on the class and you scroll over to the left-hand side, you should see the course calendar. When you click on the course calendar, you're going to get a little bit of information here about how things work, but essentially the thing that you should get from this is that everything is available on this website or through the website through links that I give you. And when you are looking down at the things that are on the list, there are basically four things that you're looking at. The first is going to be, it's going to say internet and it's going to have an author's name. That's because what I want you to do is go to the internet, either go out to a Google search or go to the iNet resource list and look for your author in the authors section. Most of the authors that we use in this class are listed here. And in fact, there's the one for T.C. Boyle. And you want to get some information about who the author is and what kinds of things they write about. This is obviously important for context, and especially, for example, if you're reading a story like What You Pawn I Will Redeem, which is about the plight of Native Americans, and you find out that Sherman Alexie himself is a Native American, and he's an alcoholic, and he was once homeless, and then you read the story, you'll realize there are connections between what's going on with this main character and who the author is. The other thing that you're going to notice is these links to my website that have to do with literary terms such as conflict and plot and, a theme and interpretive versus escapist fiction. And essentially when you click on these are going to tell you about the literary terms that you're learning for the class. These are the terms you must use in your papers. And essentially we go by them week by week. That means I do not want you talking about symbolism in the first 2 weeks because we haven't covered symbolism. We will get to that later on. What I want you to do is focus on the things that I am asking you to focus on in terms of these literary terms. The other thing you'll notice is that these links to these other elements that have to do with organization and the way your paper looks. And certainly this is where you'd look at something like this, a discussion of paragraphing and what an introduction looks like and what an introduction is not. And I give you examples of what an introduction would be, and I give you examples of what a conclusion would be. And the idea is that you are looking at these paragraphing examples for an idea as to what your paper and what your responses are going to look like. The final thing, of course, that you're going to come across is the story itself. And when you click on that link, it's going to take you out to the web, but you're going to find these resources that are free to you and actually free to everyone that have been published, and they are the original versions of the story, so you don't have somebody, badly typing them in. And ultimately, you're going to get the story that you're looking for. If there's no pagination, like this one here, when you cite it, you will simply cite by paragraph, and you can be approximate with this. And obviously, the paragraph is going to get pretty extensive here. If you actually get page numbers, then you would cite by paragraph. So basically, when you get to the calendar, you are, for all intents and purposes, you are utilizing those resources that best are pointed to you, and the reason I'm giving you these resources is because that's what I want to focus on. And you'll also notice as we get toward the end of the semester, there's less and less reading, and there's more and more you turning things in. We front load the class with a lot of information, with a lot of practice, and a lot of shorter works, and obviously your final paper and other elements toward that final paper, as well as more complicated works and more complicated topics come later in the semester. So follow along. Everything there is linked from the calendar, and you should be good to go. Remember that due dates are for the online course are going to be posted on Blackboard in the folders, and if you're on campus, in an actual classroom, due dates will be announced in class, and that's how you know when things are due. These dates here are approximate for this material. Obviously, the first week is often just a day, and it's unlikely we're going to talk about a story that you've not read, but by the time we get to week 7 or 8 or 9 or 12, we have caught up because of the way the class runs. So these are more about the order in which things will go rather than the specific week that things will go. So keep that in mind as you are going through the calendar, okay? So keep up on the reading, keep up on the links. If links go bad, let me know. But other than that, everything that you need is right here on the calendar, all right? Stay in touch.